Hi, how are you? All right, here we go. My name's Serena. Some of you, I've actually never met before. So, hi, welcome, welcome. This is all about social media. Okay, so we are going to talk. I wish we could talk all about social media, but today is just going to be about telling our story because everybody who's on this call has amazing products, right? Letting you in. We have amazing products and we have even more amazing transformations. Am I right? I think I'm right. But how do we get our stories heard? All right. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. And you're going to give me a thumbs up if you can see it. All right. Thumbs up if you can see my screen. Sweet. Thanks, Les. All right. We have amazing products and we have even more amazing transformations, but how do we get our stories heard? All right. So let me pull this up right here. I want to tell you some of my favorite social media books before I even dive any deeper into what we're doing today. Write this down or take a screenshot. Freakishly Effective Social Media for Network Marketing, the second edition. I have read both. Ray Higdon it's awesome. It's not necessarily about storytelling, but it is about how to get yourself out there on social media. It gives wonderful tips. You can listen to it in a matter of like 2 hours. So well worth the listen. Influencer by Brittany Hennessy. You are going to pull some major gems from that book for sure. And then Hook Point by Brendan Kane. If you do not or have not listened to that book, that will be your next Audible. What an incredible, you're going to pull so many gems from Hook Point. All right. So why are we here? Why are we here? Because we have products and stories that people need, right? That's why we're here. But some of us might be sitting here thinking, oh my gosh, who even wants to hear about my stories, right? Am I even like worthy of sharing? Do people even care what I have to say? The answer is you don't know unless you try, right? You don't know unless you try. Who knows? Maybe the answer is no, but you don't know unless you try. And we might as well give an A for effort and we might as well learn as much as we can so we go all in and get the best out of it, right? Today, we're going to learn how to tell stories, a ton of them, a ton of stories that people want to listen to. Not just your story, maybe people who are in these Hollywood squares, maybe their stories. Because why? Because stories allow us to feel connected to the person, right? Stories allow people to feel like they're letting you in. They're relatable, right? They're a bird's eye view of an experience. It's like reading a book or watching a movie, right? So first of all, for those of you that don't know me, why on earth should you listen to me? It's not like I have a massive following on Instagram. I have like 10,500 to be exact followers. It's not huge, but what I do have on social media is eyes watching and ears listening. Okay. They're listening to what I have to say and they're reading the words that I write. How do I know? Because I can see the return, right? I can see who's watching my stories and I can also see how many people are turning into leads and people who are turning into customers. In return, I create a platform of people who know and trust me and want to follow along, all because I tell my stories. Stories. I tell my stories. Before I got into network marketing, I was in sales. And before I got into sales, I was a college student with a BS in journalism and public relations. The BS, it stands for Bachelor of Science, in case you thought it stood for something else. Yeah, not the other BS you were thinking of that journalism now sort of stands for. I wrote speeches in my free time for people who were running for Associated Student Body. And I even wrote a book on my dating experiences. Makes me want to throw up in my mouth. So there, that's me, Sarita. background in sales, turn multiple six-figure earner, working on my own terms. So here we go. Show of hands on this call. Who have babies, kids, children you take care of, humans? Raising our hand. Yes, me too. Me too. Miles and Scout, and every night I read Miles and Scout a bedtime story. Okay, I read them a bedtime story. How many of us read our children bedtime stories? Okay, I don't read them bedtime facts. I read them bedtime stories. You know what? I probably should read them bedtime facts because they probably fall asleep a lot faster. All right. So often when we get into network marketing or we get into our business, we get into our own head and we think that everybody wants to know the facts about our products, the facts about our company, the facts about the ailments that we want to help people with, right? But really, that's not an effective way to get our message across. All right. So spewing all of these facts to people is going to end up falling on deaf ears. So let's dive into the basics of telling a story. All right. An effective way, or let's just do the basics. And then you know what? I'm going to ask you also to share your basics. So I've got some fun gifts I want to give away just for diving out of your comfort zone. So feel free to partake. All right, here we go. Let's get started with puppies. Something so simple, yet we have such a hard time with it, right? It's us. You know all your stories. It's also 11:11, so make a wish on the East Coast. You know your stories. You know how many you have, but it's challenging for you to sit and think about how to share it. Let's break it down. All right, I'm going to be giving you a few of my stories. And then I don't want you to hang up before I revamp these stories, because most likely you're going to be thinking, wait, this lady is successful? How? Hi, my name's Serena, and my previous background is I was a tech recruiter, and it brought me doom and gloom every Sunday night. I got into network marketing to supplement my husband's military income once I became a stay-at-home mom. Now I am a 0.0% leader and I can travel whenever I want to. No more doom and gloom on Sundays. Cool. That's great. And then I share a picture of like the Shaklee logos. All right, cool. That's my background. There's my why. Here's where I'm at now. All right, here's a couple more examples. But first, get your pen and grab your paper. I want you to write down these words. My background is in. Okay, don't have to say what your background is in. Just write those words down. And now below that, give yourself a little space. Write down, I got into network marketing to. Don't have to fill in that blank. Just write those words down. And third, some space below that, you're going to write, and I'm looking to. Okay, and we'll come back to that. So you have that ready. And trust me, we're coming back to that. All right, here's a picture of some vitamins. Who doesn't want to stop their scroll and read this post? I was an exhausted stay-at-home mom with severe anxiety and depression. Then I decided enough was enough and I needed a change. After tweaking a few things and changing my routine, I am the calmest and happiest I've ever been. True story. True story. Pretty much in a nutshell. Moving on, next story. Obviously, these are all about me. Here's a picture of not me, but somebody else working. And it says, hi, 2 years ago, I was uninspired and earning a decent paycheck, but something felt off. I took a huge leap of faith for my health and my family, and I decided to join a new company. 2 years later, I am blah, blah, blah. Last and final. Hi, I feel dull, tired, and sick of the status quo. I knew I needed a change. Just 3 weeks in, I'm sleeping better. I lost 7 pounds and my husband keeps saying how much happier I am. I cannot wait to keep going to see where this journey takes me. Obviously, that would be a post about right when I got started. And then there's a picture of some what I think would be, I don't know, maybe an inspirational quote, worry less, live more. All of those stories have what in common? They have a struggle and they have a solution. But what they don't have is an audience. Nobody's going to read those posts. No, not one person. Maybe one who was like super late at night, blurry-eyed, and happened to stumble upon it. But nobody's going to read those posts, okay? They're very true. They're exactly what my story is, but they're good. They're just not great. And you're not going to find those stories on my page. So first off, new piece of paper. How many stories do you have? Endless. So many stories. You're going to write down 5 story themes right now. I'll give you an example of mine, a few of mine. Ailment, struggle. Oh my God, anxiety, depression, debilitating IBS, couldn't walk up the stairs. Relationship struggle. Oh my, blech, literally want to vomit in my mouth. Money struggle, severe amounts of debt. Military life. God bless America, but holy shiz, being a military wife is hard. Mom life. Thank God for stress relief. Thank God for stress relief. Fitness life. Muscles rock. Now write down your story themes. Take a moment. Okay. Hi, Jason. Who wants to share their story themes? Not everybody.
I will.
Yay. Whoever said I will, go for it.
Leslie.
Hi, Les.
Hi. So my stories are my digestive. I have Crohn's, hormonal acne, empty nester feeling, even though I have one of my children still at home. It's like feeling empty nest. Stronger at 50, crafter and photographer. That's it.
Awesome. I love those. Those are great. Those are very niche down for sure. Anyone else want to share? Courtney Mitchell, stop doing what you're doing. Sit down and focus. Get your workbook out. I gave Courtney a hard time this morning because she tagged me in a post, and this has to do with live stories. I can call her out. She's one of my best friends, and she wants to, shoot this business past the stars and to the moon. So I have no problem helping her in all ways, even if it is a little bit bold and bossy. She tagged me in a story on social media, and I didn't even read it. So I had to tell her. I didn't read it because there were so many words. And I struggle with all sorts of ailments. Remember how it's part of my theme? ADHD is one of them. So I have the attention span of a gnat. And so does the majority of the world. So she tagged me. It was my own words. I mean, it was my own name. And I just didn't even take the time to read it. So I told her, I said, hey, less words, more impact. Less words, more impact. Especially in a story set. I know y'all are using live stories. So when you're in a live story, you have to, get someone's attention in less than 3 seconds. And so in order to do that, you have big font, right? You have 1 to 3. 3 sentences is your maximum in a story set. I know I just took like a deep dive because I was like, go sit down, Courtney. I took a turn. All right. So anyone else want to share some of their story themes?
I can share mine.
Yeah, girl.
I share a lot about homeschooling and just kind of like life around that. We have 4 that were only 2 are officially in school right now, and then 2
Awesome.
younger. And then financial freedom has been our big thing, living like the debt-free lifestyle. So
Yeah.
share about that. And we're actually having to revamp that now. We moved to Florida in the pandemic. We're like one of those families. So we walked away from our home and then ultimately walked away from a corporate job and restarted everything. And I think this has been the year that we felt it the most. So in the beginning, I was like, oh yeah, we did this. It's awesome, blah, blah, blah. And this year has been hard. And the
Nice.
stress hit. And I guess I've been scared to feel the night, share that part of it, because I've been worried about like people kind of like negatively commenting on what we did, because it finally got hard. And so I've been sharing less about that lately, because I just have to put on my big girl thick skin and deal with what people might say. We're still doing fine, but it's harder than it was. So I share a lot about food allergies, because we have severe food allergy, and I've just been more in the biohacking, like I need to revamp our health and get healthier. That's why I stopped what I was doing and joined Shaklee. And so kind of sharing that mode, that's how I shared. And I don't know, I've been listening to Courtney and saying maybe I'm taking a step back, a breather from that more intense lifestyle too, and just being. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, we've been sick for like 2 months. I feel like I think we're all of that is coming through. So I've been nervous about sharing, because I feel like in my core right now, I'm not being authentic.
Right. And that's definitely, I mean, authenticity is the number one thing we have to be in our business. So you do have to wrap your head around making sure you're coming off authentic for sure.
Yeah.
We can dive in deeper to that too. But those are great. I mean, those are all things that there's someone else out there feeling those same things or having similar, there are people out there that are similar to you.
Yes, I heard yesterday.
know.
Your mess is your message. And so I've been trying to figure out, how do we package what we're doing so we can.
Your struggle is your story. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So great. Awesome. Thank you guys for sharing. I want to give you a few, like, take a screenshot of this to save, because it's just random, very quickly, how to get someone to even read my story tips. I'll go back to sharing my screen. This could be like a whole, workshop, but in the respect to keep it short, sweet, and to the point, here are a few of my favorite tips. Writing on social media is casual, right? You're not writing for the Associated Press, right? I'm not like back in like journalism school where everything has to be perfect and 2 spaces after a period, blah, blah, blah. Which I don't even think is a thing anymore. So yes, grammar and spelling does matter, but it's just what matters less. So pay attention to what you're writing, but keep it casual. Write how you would speak to your best friend, right? Not how you would speak when you're nervous and standing in front of the DMV line because she asked me 97 questions and I barely knew 2 of them. So I'm shaking, like, not like I'm talking to the person I was 3 hours ago. Write on social media like you're talking to your best friend. Dazzle with brevity. Oh my God, if I could just like give you 3 words, dazzle with brevity, which means less words. Less words. Right? That doesn't mean, so I don't want to say like less fluff, because then it makes it sound like you have to sound like just like straight into the point. No, it should be storytelling, but it should be in less words. You can storytell in less words. Should I say it again? I probably should say it again. Always use less words. Become your demographic. Okay, so who are you speaking to, right? Again, who are you speaking to? So sure, she's your best friend, so you feel comfortable in sharing this with her. You're like, close your eyes. You're like, here's my best friend in front of me. But she's also not your best friend. She is your demographic. She is the person that you want to help. Most likely, she is you before you got started on this journey. right? I don't know, maybe some of you on this call or who are listening to this recording, maybe you're the person that you want to help is a 70-year-old man with a hip replacement. Like maybe that's your calling, but it's not mine, right? So my niche, my demographic is who I was the night before I got started into network marketing, or who I was the night before I decided to leave behind my 6-figure income and join Shackley. You know, somebody who is a military wife, someone who is scared of change, someone who is struggling in their own health journey. How on earth could they go and help someone else? Become your demographic. Know that's what, know who you're talking to. Bless you. Know who you're talking to, right? I know these are like the same words, just written differently because everyone learns differently, but know who you're talking to. And what is your why? Your why is going to help you write so many FUCKING stories. Can I say it louder? When I sit down, I start shaking and crying. You know why? Because upstairs there's a 5-year-old baby girl sleeping, and that's why I do this. That's how much conviction you have to have when you sit down to tell your story. My why is to make the world a better place for my children. So if the words that I'm writing do not make the world a better place by this much, then why am I writing them? Right? So what is your why? And if it doesn't hold a candle, like if it's just like, oh, I just want like a little community and I want a discount, and then you probably don't really have a very captivating story. So you kind of have to take a step back and think, let me do a little introspection here. What is your why? I'm telling you, once you get convicted in your why, you sit down and those words that they will free flow. And then you go back and reread and go, oh, Serena said less words. Less words. Personal events. Okay. People demand authenticity. People understand struggle, probably more so than success. People understand struggle. Sharing personal events will capture an audience if you do it in the right way. This is like minute details that matter though. Always space things out. If Courtney sent me something today and it had a block of words and I got so confused, I just had to look the other way, right? I need to see like one sentence, space, another sentence, more spaces, another sentence. Make it easy for someone to read. A block of text will go unread. Use emojis, but don't abuse emojis, right? They add color. They help people stop. So they do aid in your benefit. Courtney makes one busy post. Sheesh. It's good. We're all learning. I needed that example. So we live in a 3-second world, right? You live in a 3-second world. If you can't capture the attention immediately, then you can't get them to pay attention to your story. So let's go back and change the stories that I told you about me. Okay. And then you're going to take your background. You're going to take the questions that I asked you. You're going to give the basic answers, and then you're going to go in and I'm going to tell you some tips on how you can make them into a story, not just facts. All right. So you remember where I said, doom and gloom Sundays. I used to be a technical recruiter, blah, blah, blah. Nobody would read it. I don't even remember it, even though it's my story. Hi, here's a picture of me smiling with crinkly nose, which is why I got to get Botox so much, because I make this face so much. That pit, so sick to my stomach to think about pulling into the parking lot. Maybe I just call in sick again, question mark. A thankless job that sucked the life out of me. I thank God every day that I found this new path, all because I wanted to make a few bucks. The pit is gone and replaced with so much joy and heart-filled work. Never could I have imagined I could turn it all around. Right? Same story. Just tweaked a little bit differently. So take one of your themes. take one of your themes and right next to it, write a feeling that that theme gives you. I mean, be as descriptive as you want to. Make an angry face when you write it. Write a feeling next to it. And if you have to go and look up the definition of a word to jog some feelings, do it. Right? A lot of the times, so I suffer from, severe anxiety. And sometimes I go back and I look at, you can even see up here, it says generalized anxiety disorder, GAD. I go back and I look almost to pull some actual anxiety from me so that I could story tell properly, because I no longer suffer from anxiety and depression the way that I used to. But I want to put my readers in my old shoes. So the way to do that is in the very first 1 or 2 words. Punch them in the gut with a feeling. Punch them in the gut with a feeling. Should I say it again? Right? In order to tug at heartstrings, they've got to be able to make sure they got a heart. You got to give them a heartbeat by giving them something that is a feeling. The pit, right? Do you remember? Is there something that you like hated doing where you had that pit and you just felt sick to your stomach? I would get that every time I would actually be in the parking lot thinking how I could not go up into the elevator. Like, could I just call in sick from the parking lot? Maybe no one will see me. Right? My people who follow me want to hear and read those stories because their shoes are in those, their feet are in those shoes right now. If I never could imagine that I could turn it around. Okay. Oh, there's a picture. I fell to the floor and fainted. Space, 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 space. This is an actual event. Red Robin 2006. If you don't know what Red Robin is, you're missing out on some really good steak fries. I was 19 and severely malnourished because I was on the Xenadrin diet, aka starve yourself to lose 5 pounds. Side note, to gain back 20. Something had to give. I had no idea how desperate my body was for dense nutrition and personalized supplements. To be on the other side of such a vicious cycle of self-abuse brings me to tears. I'm home, healthy, and happy. Same story about like whatever I told you before, which again, I can't even remember. Right? Okay. So what you're going to do right now is you're going to spend 3 minutes and you're going to go back to your page that says, my background is, I got into network marketing too, and I'm looking to. Just going to write 1 or 2 sentences of what your background is in. And if you left a previous background to come here, use that. But if you're still in the same background, like you still have that job, but one day you don't want to have that job because that's why you're in network marketing, use that job that you have now as your background. And I'll mute myself so it lets you focus for a minute. Take like 1 more minute. And you can see mine too, if you need, to peek at my boring one. We'll call it that. Okay. Anyone want to share? Go ahead, Les.
Okay. My background is in document management. I got into network marketing to be my own boss, and I'm looking forward to leaving the corporate world.
Awesome. That's pretty much exactly how I said it and what I said it. And if we told that story like to a stranger, they'd be like, "Oh, cool, Les, nice to meet you," right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, anyone else want to share? Great job.
Can I share that I'm struggling to write mine?
Yeah,
I
totally.
don't know what my background truly is for this because I did work, but I had been out of work for a few years before I started this. So would my background be that I'm a stay-at-home mom and like homeschooling and doing that? But I got into this to learn more ways to support our family's health while helping to rebuild our family's income.
Yeah, no, those are great words. You just wrote it.
Okay. And then I'm looking to also learn ways to like help other families to do the same thing, learn to support their health and rebuild their income. So that's what I want to do ultimately.
And
Okay.
you should always put that out there, right? So where it says like, now I'm the 0.01% leader and can travel whenever I want to, no more doom and gloom on Sundays. Like, you don't have to have the end story, right? You have to have the vision.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. I feel like I don't have any end points yet. I'm just
No,
in
you're
that
in it. We're living it,
total
right?
casting. Yeah.
And
Okay.
I'm living it too.
Okay.
Hi, Roseanne. Roseanne has, hi,
There we go. I'm unmuted.
there you go.
I'm working and listening to you guys at the same time. I originally had put down definitely wanting to graduate from my job a little bit because I had gone part-time as of the new year. And so I was kind of using that as like the main lead because I was not having success in the job market the past 6 months. And as of yesterday, I got my job back full time. So
Congratulations.
that's a big change, but focusing on like, the recruiting, aspects, talking about that a lot. Breaking away from diet culture, fitness, definitely putting myself in the 40s category because I'm going to be 40 in a month. So talking about that and trying to kind of hook all those together.
Okay. Okay. So let's not hook them all together. They're all your stories, right? And instead of talking about them, you want to switch the words talking about them to telling a story. So like my boring version of, my background is a background in tech recruiting. Gosh, doom and gloom on Sunday. Like, it's just basic, right? But when you get into telling a story about your background, why you got into network marketing, and where you want to take it, this is where the switch happens. This is where we switch from a static photo and just facts to telling a story that people want to read. This is where we might have to open up a thesaurus. This is where we might have to sit down and think about our feelings. All right. So, you just said, you're taking your basics. You're taking just the basic of your background, where you are and where you want to be. And then you're going to turn it into something that people want to read. Right?
Yeah.
In 3 seconds. So you're, maybe recruiting isn't, I did that same gig too. Maybe recruiting isn't where your heart is, but it's paying the bills now. So you're working your day-to-day job while you're building, your fortune on the side, sort of thing. But you're going to have to talk about the feelings that come with wanting that. Like, so for me, I mean, like for Leslie, she wants to get out of the corporate world. Well, everybody wants to get out of the corporate world, but what can you tell me that makes me really feel that you want to get out of the corporate world? You know what I mean? Like,
That makes sense.
how does it feel on Sunday night, knowing, that Monday, is the way that it is? And then ultimately, I want time freedom. Ultimately, I want this. So this is why I joined network marketing, right? Because I feel XYZ. But you never want to say that, right? You're telling a story. You're not going, I feel really.
No, I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so Kelly, boring versions to revamp. She came from Color Street. She's all about external beauty, got that down, but need to revamp the insides too to feel beautiful and healthy and energetic. Kelly, you have a great story. You have great stories to tell. So Kelly on the outside is at an optimum weight. She's obviously breathtakingly gorgeous. She doesn't look like somebody who would suffer or struggle from any ailments. But because I know Kelly's story, because she told me deep in a DM, I know that that's not really how Kelly feels. So Kelly's going to have to go out there and tell the world or her people, she's struggling. She has, situations, and I got to tell her every now and again, you can't eat that, Kelly. That's not going to make you feel good. But she wants to change. She wants to, make healthier decisions for her family so that her insides can match, her outside. So you have so many wild, incredible directions to take your multiple stories, Kelly. Like, goodness gracious, you are going to relate to so many people. Anyone else want to share their boring version? This is the easy part.
I will, Serena.
Yeah, go sis.
So, I was actually a stay-at-home mom for most of my kids' life in school, but I did go back to office management, and it was very busy, stressful, and I got sick with I'm allergic to dogs, so I actually went out on disability. So I've been out on disability for 6 years now, and I was just sitting at home and I wanted something to do. So so my background is I'm a stay-at-home mom, office management, and I got into network marketing because I felt like I was bored at home and I wanted something more to do with my life. And I didn't want to go back to a corporate job because I can't. And I want to be able to bring in some extra income to help my family. Not that they need it really, but
no, I love that. I think for you, in order to tell like a more like an even deeper, captivating story, you need to have, like, which I know you will if you sit and think about it, you need to have a bigger why. Because if you were just bored and looking, like, sad to say, but we're going to lose you in a few months. And that's a bummer,
right.
because we love having you on our team. But boredom will go away, and the shiny newness will fade.
Right.
So sitting down to really think, now that you are hook, line, and sinker into our team and a part of our community, and the boredom is gone because we're giving you things to do.
Well, right now I love being part of your guys' community.
Well, you are the community. You are making the community. So you're not just,
right.
Our guys's, it's yours too. But yeah. So having
I don't know, and I've always been a fan of nutrition and trying to get as much nutrition we can from our food, but sometimes you can't do that.
Not sometimes, all the time.
Well, especially with me right now, that's what I'm running into because I can't move as much. So I can't take in the calories that I used to take.
Okay, so there you go. So you just told a really great story that just needs a few minor tweaks, because not being able to move as much, like, that's a big deal. And to sit and think about, some hook points of, words that have feelings, right? In the very first line or two lines,
Mhm.
are going to get people to stop and read your story. And they're going to understand why every day you're posting, because every day you're posting like an overwhelming amount of pills. Even for me, I'm like, oh shit, there she is again, posting all those pills. So to the regular person who isn't on our team or isn't healthy or doesn't know what they are, they're looking at you like you're probably a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Like that's they're like, oh man, Erin must be suffering from so many things, because why is she taking so many pills? But really what they don't know is that those supplements are pure and they're nature-based, and they're helping you overcome an area that you're depleted in, right? They're helping you manage all of the other, ailments that you have, or they're helping you with XYZ
Okay, so it's,
yeah.
Hold
So I think
I
you
send you,
should share.
I sent,
What you just talked about with me is a landing page post, right? Where it's like, how does it make you feel to be in the situation that you are in? Like a description word. You always want to, I would start a landing page post or a live story set with a descriptive, something that helps your readers dive into your shoes. That pit, right? Those words right there, that pit. Well, what pit, Serena? Let me keep reading. Sick to my stomach.
Okay.
To think about pulling into the parking lot. How about that one? I fell to the floor and fainted. If somebody brushes past that, well, they're going straight to HE double hockey sticks. If they don't read that, okay. So, as you guys are sharing, I want you to make sure like we're all friends on Facebook and stuff, because I would love to like help with especially landing page posts. A lot of the times we're not taking advantage of Facebook and writing out an actual post, or Instagram writing out an actual post, because we're so concerned with the algorithm. Well, guess what? If you tell a captivating story, Facebook's gonna put it in front of people. Okay? True story. They know what storytelling looks like. So they will put it in front of an audience if it looks like it's telling a story. If it looks like it's sharing facts, they will hide it deep into the abyss. So utilizing that to get more eyes and more followers, I would absolutely use your Facebook landing pages to share multiple stories, all your stories. Okay, so live stories. There are a multitude of ways that you can share on live stories, and I want to help give you a few tips, and then I'm going to have you be on your merry way. I'm going to give some gifts. But here's just a few examples on how to use live stories. You could use a day in the life, right? Like you're like a fishbowl, basically, where you're sharing your day in the life. I mean, it's not like all just like you at the park and just grabbing coffee and sitting at your desk working. Of course, it's like real day-to-day life stuff, but also you're going to have to sprinkle in like some of what you do in there, right? Like some work that you do. Maybe it's preparing, maybe it's this. Maybe it's you taking a picture of yourself right now, right? 1 to 2 slides that are related to a product or a company, and they're all sprinkled in, right? I live my life, literally on live stories. It's like a fishbowl into my life. You know what I'm doing at any given time of the day. And I snapshots all throughout the day, but I don't necessarily post them all. I sometimes share them, and then I'll just like share a day in the life. And then that segues into an invite. Right? Oh, by the way, I just did a call on, sharing my story, because sharing my story, if just one person listens, if just one person relates to it, then I'm doing my job. Oh, by the way, my job is this, and I'd love to work with you. Or live stories can be, and this is my jam, customer testimonies. Okay, if you are not sharing your customer testimonies, why are you even here? And if you don't have any customer testimonies, go get them. You know how simple it is to get a customer testimony? You open up this thing, this big giant VCR, and you text your mom or your friend or whoever has used anything from Shaklee, and you say, how much are you loving your new wellness routine? Okay. And if you don't like what they say back, then you go find someone else and you say, how much are you loving your new wellness routine? And if you don't like what they say, you go and you find someone else and you ask them that question. Guess what you're doing in the process? You're not just getting customer testimonies, right? You're even checking off stuff on your daily tracker. You're also working your business every day. How much are you loving your new wellness routine? Or, hey girl, you switched things up last month. How did it go? How much are you loving GLA? So you will find customer testimonies every other day in my live stories. And now my people are so used to me reaching out to them. I don't even have to ask. I just get messages. I wake up to messages. And they all know I'm going to screenshot it and share it. I take their name out, but I share it. So 3 to 5 slides telling maybe one person. If you only got one person that said something really captivating, use 3 to 5 slides to tell their story. Not their facts, their story. Or 3 to 5 slides sharing multiple. If it was a good day and you got 3 testimonies back, share those. Another thing that I didn't have time to write in is education. Okay, so this is a really powerful way to get people to listen, to get people to watch, and to get people coming back for more, is to share with them something that they don't know. Well, what do you know that they don't know? What do you know that they don't know? And because you're in this business and because you're a part of this team, you're learning something new every day, because personal development is the new black.
Good.
And just by happenstance, you're learning something new. Share something new, share something of value with people.
Like, oh my God, I left my mat. Where did I leave it? And I was like, oh.
So education is a great way to build a loyal following and people who want to keep coming back, because they're like, oh, what is she going to teach me today? What is something that she's going to give me? Because that's all they really care about, right? Is what is she going to give me? Well, what do your stories give your people? Why do they sit down and read a book? Why do they sit down and watch a movie? They want to be entertained. Okay, so I would go back and I would take your boring story. It's not boring, but you know what I mean? I would take your factual story and I would think about how you feel, how that story makes you feel, or how your background makes you feel, or where you want to go makes you feel. And just write words. Just write words that come up. Like before I felt sick, before I felt tired, before I felt think just like adjectives. Just write down adjectives of before. And write down adjectives of a during, like ambitious, hopeful, excited. inspired, ready to rock, and feelings of like now and the future. Grateful. Empire. Impact. Alive. What about you? I think it's all the same, Roseanne. I think I would work it just the same. It's a stagnant post, not a reel or a story. What is a landing page post? Oh yeah, stagnant post. So reels work the same way. In a reel, right, you need a hook, right, which is typically a feeling. Or educating, right? They're either wanting to feel and be entertained, or they want to be educated. All right, does anyone want me to does anyone have any questions, any comments, any criticism? Keep that to yourself, actually. Just kidding. So that's
I
just
have one.
go ahead.
Sorry, can I ask one question? So
course.
I think what I'm struggling with is my social media presence for years has mainly just been sharing about my family. Like
Yeah.
it's not been any kind of like business page or sharing anything like that. And so I feel like I think I'm overthinking this. Courtney
Yeah.
knows I'm like a professional overthinker. My husband laughed the other day. He told his boss, well, I'm a recovering perfectionist. And his boss guy said, what makes you think you're recovering? Like, where are the people that are like facts, like give us, so it's the opposite, it's pulling me out of my comfort zone to tell a story or to turn it that way. So I'm wondering how, and the answer is probably like, you're overthinking it, you don't need to, but how do I like transition from like sharing cute, like my reels have no hook, they're no education. They're just like, my kids did this today, like,
Kate, write this down.
yeah. Yeah.
I'm overthinking it. And I know I don't need to.
Right.
No. I'm telling you.
I'm like,
Those are your
yeah.
first words. Those are your first words of your post. I'm overthinking this.
Okay.
Or even better, when you overthink, first of all, as women, that's all we do all damn day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts are our enemy. Feelings are our friends.
Yeah.
And maybe those are your first words. Thoughts are our enemies. Feelings are our friends. Why has this taken me so long to write? Gosh darn it. I'm an overthinker. Maybe you are too, question mark.
Mm. Yeah.
Or the last XYZ. You know what I mean? And then you dive into a little bit of your story. But
yeah.
that would hook me in.
Okay. Yeah. I never really share about me. I've been too, like, no one, probably that unworthiness. Like, no one wants to hear about me. Like, I think my kids are cute, that probably more than they think they're cute anyway. But I just end up sharing about them and feeling like no one cares what I'm doing.
Well, guess what? We don't know until we try.
Right. And then I got myself hooked into like, well, now how do I do this without everyone think I'm like another, like, oh, hey, look at me, buy my stuff, like I don't want
Because we don't sell a thing.
Okay.
We don't sell a thing.
Just tell my story.
We share our stories, right? You're not one story, you're 9 million of them.
Okay.
We wrote down 5 themes, right? That's 5. Gosh, we barely scratched the surface of stories.
Okay.
Women lead with emotion, men lead with logic. Feelings are friends, and yes, thoughts are enemy. Yes, exactly. Very, very, very true. And Mo, I'm telling you right now, I would be writing different words if my demographic was a 70-year-old man who has hip replacement, who struggles with blah, 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 right? I would write different things. But no, I know who my demographic is. I know what my why is. I know who I'm speaking to. I know what she wants to read. She wants to read less words because she struggles with ADHD. She wants to be captivated. She wants this right here, the center vessel of her body, to be tugged at. And I'm guessing your niche is very similar.
All right, I'm gonna, this Band-Aid's gonna come off. It's like hanging. It's in that really ouch phase and it's gonna come off.
1, 2, 3. Actually, we rip on 2 in this house. We don't rip on 3. Yeah, so lather, rinse, repeat, right? I've been doing this for 10 years and I will never stop telling all of my stories. People have heard them 9 million times. I just tell them in a different way. I use a different hook. I use a different word. I use a different feeling, but it's called a thesaurus, right? They're the same stories, just told in a different way. And that is what's going to keep, you tell your story once, one person will read. You tell your story 100 times, 100 people will read. Well, that's not enough to build an empire. That's not enough to build a business. 100 people, that's not enough. Okay, so you have to tell your story all the time. Stories all the time. Same ones over and over. Trust me, it will not fall on deaf ears if you do it this way. Do you have a question, Courtney?
I didn't want to interrupt anybody. I just wanted to say one thing because I know how it feels to be in a paralysis of posting, and I can't imagine starting, right? So I made the biggest mistake in not being in my personal Instagram. I started a whole new one. I already had like 600 people that I knew, maybe-ish, and I started totally over. I think that was my first mistake, but that's fine. I'm here now. What I'm saying to you is, like, when people look at that grid on their phone, which is so tiny, they're not really looking past the first like 6 posts. So don't put so much, like, I don't mean to say don't put so much heart into it, but don't put so much of like, don't put so much on the line of it being so impactful. Do the best you can. And it's going to get so good to the point where, you're being called out for using too many words at one point. But the reality is, like, it goes away after 24 hours, and the post should be going down because you should be posting more and more and more and more and more and more.
Yep. Exactly.
Of the same thing, kind of,
Lather, rinse, repeat. It's exactly right. What are our takeaways? Are our takeaways less words? Break up the words, right?
Well, I want to say one more thing, Kate. The crunchy community, people are breaking up with left and right. You start any post with, I'm breaking up with the crunchy community, people are going to read the rest of it. And however you want to say that, you just keep doing it. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't really mean that you're like not healthy now. It just means like you're not going to.
You're scrunchy. We're scrunchy.
Yeah, and you're not putting yourself in this like thing of like, I'm not going to be judged by you because I'm going to like buy whole milk and not raw milk, like.
I'm low tox with a side of Botox, girl. Proud of it.
Well, you don't have to be that extreme, but you know what I mean.
How dare you judge? All right. So we walk away with going into things fearlessly with a little bit of fear on the side, right? You're going to treat your social media almost like a journal that someone would want to read, not just a journal of like, yes, it's going to feel therapeutic for you to write. But it's also going to feel really awesome to begin to master, right? You're like, oh, I'm getting good at this. Oh, I need a hook. I need a feeling. I need to bring people in because they only have 3 seconds. Oh, I need to go spaces. I need to break up my words. What do people want to hear? What do people need to see? What can I teach today? You're going to start getting in this habit to where showing up on social media will become second nature, and you will be like, oh, I know what to do. I know what to do today. this is what I'm sharing. This is how I'm going about it. This is how I'm sprinkling in my business. This is how I'm sprinkling in, you know, my team. This is how I'm sprinkling in my health. Cool. We should totally take a picture because this tells a really good story. So if you're not driving, turn your camera on. Paige Wagner, Casey. Less words, no stock photos. Yes. All right. 1, 2, 3. Yay! You guys rock. Let me know if you need any help. And if I ever send you messages that are just giving like constructive criticism, and if it ever comes off rude, I never, ever, ever mean for it to. I come from this place. I want to see everybody be successful, feel good, and make the biggest impact and the biggest income. No problem, Paige. Baby's asleep. All right, guys. See y'all later. We're gonna have a new team. If you're on our team, we're gonna have a new team challenge coming soon. I wonder what it's gonna be about. Bye, guys.